Thank you so much for joining us. This is quite an exciting opportunity here on KisLev TV. Today's subject has to do with living abusive relationships and having the courage to say goodbye. We are being joined by three beautiful ladies from around the world. How are you, Lisa?
I'm lovely. I'm blessed. I'm excited to be up this late.
We are excited to have you. Where are you from, Lisa?
I'm from Ohio, but I'm in Alabama.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure's all mine.
And we have June here. How are you, June?
Hi, I'm doing great.
I'm so happy and excited to see you. Where are you from, June?
I live in Mississippi, southern Mississippi.
Perfect. And I must share with the audience here that June is one of the bravest women persons that I know. June is going to shave her hair. Yeah, I agree, Lisa. June is going to shave her hair in a day.
Tomorrow.
Is this like fully shave or just like?
Like your shave. Like I look like your daddy.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I put the mustache on.
Don't go that far, Jonathan. Don't go that far.
And June, why are you shaving tomorrow?
I am shaving because I am wanting to help the St. Broderick's Foundation find a cure for childhood cancer.
Oh, wow. So this is a fundraising event?
Yes, it is a fundraising event. And if you would like to participate and donate to this cause, would you please go to blab.im. And the people of Blab have put this website together for me for this fundraiser.
Perfect, perfect. And the link is going to be in the description. So I encourage you to go and to donate. I did my best to donate my whatever I could. I appreciate your cause, and we have lots of applause coming here on Periscope at the same time. This broadcast is also being broadcasted on Periscope. So it's quite fun to have you, and we see Rolling and we see Asil saying good job, June. So thank you so much for inspiring.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you for inspiring. And then we have Miss Lucille. How's it going, Miss Lucille?
It's great. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here. I must tell you guys that Miss Lucille has been one of my earliest supporters on the TV show on KisLev TV, and this is the first time I'm meeting you face to face. So,
I know. It's exciting.
So
it's exciting.
And where are you from, Miss Lucille?
South Carolina.
Perfect. That is great. Thank you so much for joining us. So let's talk about why I wanted to do this show. Right now, currently in my life, I'm in a very positive relationship. God bless, thank God, I am getting married in less than a month, which is such a beautiful, exciting thing. Yeah. We have been together, Hallel and myself, we've been together for 3.5 years, living together in the same home for 2.5 years, and this is just really magical. And I think that at this time, you know, as I'm kind of getting prepared for the wedding and for what it means and for really being willing to share my life, long run, with this amazing woman, I am being reminded of difficult moments in the past. And yesterday I was speaking to my parents, and they told me, my father has been with my mother since the 6th grade or something along those lines. They've been together for years and years and years. And he told me, you know, I think that it's at this time that I really appreciate your ability to saying goodbye to previous relationships that you had. And I was like, Dad, this is amazing that you're saying that, because I've been feeling that too. And, you know, we didn't elaborate, you know, we're men, you know, we're trying to be tough. But I think that my father actually sensed what I was talking about and what I'm feeling these days, which is, I don't think it's obvious, and I don't think it should be taken for granted that I am in a healthy relationship right now, because there were times in my life in which I was not. And oftentimes when we think of abusive relationships, we think of men abusing women. So it's kind of hard for us to kind of get our mind around, whoa, can men be abused too? And let me tell you, they can be abused too. And oftentimes when we think of abuse, we think of violence and physical abuse. And I think that that also does a disservice to the concept of abuse and to the understanding of the phenomenon of being put down in a relationship. And I think that for us to really comprehend the phenomenon, we need to understand that it first begins verbally. And even if it stays in the verbal kind of mental realm and does never go to the physical realm, nevertheless, it is abuse. So that being said, if it's okay with you girls, I'll share my story with you.
Of course.
Yes, please do.
So a few years ago, I was in a relationship with a beautiful woman. She was very beautiful physically, and she was and is a very beautiful person. Nothing that I say today in this show am I to judge her, or am I to to act like a person who is so great. What I'm sharing is my own experience and the way that I was in the relationship. So part of coming out of the relationship strong was to take responsibility on my part in the story. So with that being said, she was very loving, and the value that she placed on being together was great. And that's something that I appreciate too. That was something that I was looking for. I was looking for someone to be intertwined in my life, to be really fully immersed in my life, and for me to be fully immersed in their lives. So that was great. When I found her, and when I found her level of commitment, it was great. She moved in with me about a month into our relationship, which was a little early, but I felt like, this is good. This shows that we're serious. It's better than, beating around the bush and, dating for years. So I was happy about it. And soon enough, what began to happen was that she encouraged me to stand my ground with other people, to kind of be firm with other people in a way that was in the beginning empowering, and as the months progressed, began to become a little toxic. And what do I mean by that? She encouraged me to say things very blatantly to my employer at the time, which was good to an extent, because I was in the opposite side of the spectrum, kind of taking it all in and saying nothing. But basically, she herself got on the wrong terms with my employer, and because it was like a very intimate relationship with my employer as well. And she, encouraged me to leave the work I was doing in a very in an unhealthy manner. So again, it was Jonathan that said yes, and it was Jonathan that followed her advice constantly. To an extent, it became I was dependent on her advice. Like I needed to get her advice at every moment. So I would call her several times a day to kind of to see what would she do and what would she say and how should I deal with this situation and that situation. Following that, and me being away from this work situation, we moved in together to a remote kind of villagey area. She didn't want to live in the city, and soon enough, she first became just like very toxic and very negative, And she wasn't really approving of me spending time away from her. This is getting a little kind of she wasn't excited or happy about me having friends. She started to, you know, tell me that this friend doesn't like her and that friend doesn't like her. And what was so funny is that she was totally hallucinating in the beginning, but with time, she was actually correct because whenever I would speak to them, they would be kind of trying to like save me from drowning. They would be like, man, you know, I don't, you know, you haven't been painting for a while and you haven't been, you know, doing the other things that you like to do and you haven't visited us and you know how, you know, it sounds like you're stuck there. And then she started to get sick and I would be like, guys, I really need to be with her because she's now sick and she has all of these things and, you know, I need to support her. And, you know, they would start to tell me, man, you know, we're not sure if this is the right thing for you to be in, if this relationship is right. And she sensed it. And she told me, you know, that it's either me or them. And because I was so committed to the relationship, I stayed in. And I said, okay, it's you. I've chosen. You know, this is important for me. And so I slowly cut the ties with my guy friends. Yeah, big no. I agree. We have some comments here and empathy on Periscope. So I started to cut the ties with my friends. And I was basically, I became a little bit of a nurse. And what was upsetting is I thought that the more I'll help her, the healthier she'll get. And, you know, the more positive she'll get and the more vibrant she'll get like she was in the beginning of the relationship. And oddly enough, or not oddly enough, literally, the more I helped her and the more I was really nursing her. To an extent, she was bedridden for a while. The more she wanted, exactly. And the more she got sick. So we were frequenting hospitals. And her relationship with her family became toxic, and basically I was the only person that was in her life. To kind of bring it slowly to a close, I am a very sensitive person when it comes to raising your voice. Whenever someone, you know, yells or screams, that makes me feel really uncomfortable. And slowly and gradually, the relationship built up in a sense that she was...
Sorry, I'm smiling because I come from a big Italian family and we yell all the time.
All the time. Yeah, and I come from Israel too, which is, you know, like pretty loud here. So I'm not sure what I'm doing in society. But definitely, I must tell you, Miss Lucille, there is a little bit of a difference. Like, I love when people are warm and passionate, but... I think that you can decipher, like you really can know where it comes from. And to me, at one point, I became embarrassed of what the neighbors would think of me because of all of the shoutings.
Yeah.
So then I started to tell her 70 to 80% of people in the world will take advantage of your kindness after a point. Wow. I'm not sure about that, but I'm definitely sure, Rolling, that this was the experience in this. I would say that by the time that she started to scream at me on a constant daily basis, I was like, this is not good. So then I had to do something which was one of the most difficult things in my life, which was to tell her that that I think it would be best for us to move apart for a few days, for her to be with her parents. And her relationship with her parents was toxic. So she went into a huge rant. I remember sitting on the stairs, kind of up. I was afraid of being with her in close physical contact. And eventually she did move out. We tried to give the relationship another chance, something like 8 times over the next 2-3 months.
Jonathan. Wow.
Yeah, jump
You're
on.
such a good.
But we
No,
live
I'm
and
not-
learn. We live and learn.
So loyal, though. You're. I mean, you know, God bless you.
God bless
It's not
me.
for want of trying. Yeah.
God bless me. I was. Thank you so much, Christopher. I appreciate it. I'm happy to see some male energy support here. This is embarrassing. I never really shared this story out loud. I think that now I am stronger to share it out loud, and I would just say that I think that the change had to occur within me. I was allowing this relationship to happen. I guess that my self-worth was very limited. I felt that, if not her, then who would love me? Who would take care of me? Who would? Because she was very loving. Our intimate relationship was amazing. She would cook. She would listen to me. So it was very. I was like, whoa, this is the real thing. And I just didn't notice, I was kind of blinded to how slowly it went downhill and into a spiral. So what I had to do was to learn that I am worthy of a healthy relationship, of a person that loves me for who I am, of a person who is willing to support me, who is willing to have her own life too. I remember when I came out of this relationship and I made a list of all the qualities that I wanted in a woman, because, The Secret and some friends told me that I wanted to do it. The first thing I wrote is, has a great life on her own. I really want to have a mature girl that didn't need me. So that I wouldn't need her, and it will be all kind of one big mess of weakness and really like no self-definition and not knowing who you are and being able to be your own being. So with that being said, the reason I wanted to do this show today, which is like 5 years after we broke up, and 3.5 years of me being in a marvelous relationship. With my girl never raising her voice. Well, sometimes slightly, but in a loving way. In a relationship that is just so healthy with a woman who has her own life, who is supportive of me, who is supportive of what I do, in a healthy, nurturing relationship. It's like I'm blessed for having the courage to move out of this relationship, because I tell you, it was easier to stay in the toxic relationship. It was easier. It was. So yeah, she is secure. My current girl is secure. God bless. So with that being said, I wanna just kind of open this show and open my intention for this show. My show, this show for us is for me to serve as a beacon of light. This is not for us having gone out of abusive relationships. This is for people, in my eyes, that are in an abusive relationships right now, or just came out of an abusive relationship and are trying to heal themselves and are trying to understand their self-worth. This is what we are about in this show. So I appreciate your comments. I appreciate all of your comments here on Periscope and on Blab, and I look forward to hearing from you. So before we begin, we have lots of support here on Periscope. I do want to encourage you, Periscopers, if you want to join us, go to blab.im, and we'd love to hear you in person. I'm going to try and read the comments, even though sometimes it's hard to multitask. June, thank you for your help as well here. Hard to say sorry for, self-confidence gets knocked. Yep. So with that being said, why do you girls, why does this subject interest you? Why does it interest you?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Why did you say it was easier to stay in the previous relationship, even though you had perspective to look at what you had given up and how she had tried to change you? And even, you said you broke up or tried to reconcile 8 times. So you obviously had some time apart. So why was it easier to go back when you knew that it wasn't a source of freedom for you?
I would say, yeah, I agree with what is like. It's like a pair of comfortable old shoes. I would say that I remember once she moved out, I decided that I couldn't be in the house anymore because this was our house, and where is she? So I moved into a kind of bachelor's apartment in Jerusalem, and it was cold, it was rainy, it was, I was emotionally, I felt a great void. I felt like no one would be able to fill this void but her. And I felt lonely in ways that I never felt before. And I felt like something was wrong with me, that I needed to be tougher. And I actually had a woman friend who was older, and she told me, you know what? Yeah, I think that's the abuse cycle. She told me, you know what, Jonathan, you are being too sensitive. True relationships are relationships in which you raise your voice and in which you speak sometimes in high tones and high pitch. And if you want to be in a relationship, then you need to toughen up and you need to be able to, speak in this manner. So,
Jonathan, can I say something on that respect? When we're in dysfunctional relationships, especially if we're the one that seems to be trying more maybe than our partner, that dysfunction chips away at us. And it taps into things that, like our self-esteem. And so you may have had the knowledge and the understanding that you needed to leave, or you would benefit to leave, but I don't want to say you were probably comfortable in that situation, but your self-esteem had been damaged, and you could not, you probably were not capable of making decisions from a healthy perspective, because dysfunction chips away at us in different ways, and the longer that we're in it, the more is chipped away. And so, when you said that you needed to kind of like man up, I don't think it's necessarily you needed to man up. You needed to get the confidence that you could do this and that it was best for you and the partner at the time. You needed to be the stronger person. And when I can only speak for myself, but in a dysfunctional situation, sometimes strength is very hard to come by. But when we can get that strength, that's when we really need to take that leap and get out.
Yeah, I agree. And I totally agree. And just to kind of get the point across, Lisa, to fully answer your question, why was it easier to stay and to come back to this relationship? I never thought in those days that I'll be able to fill that void. And the void was scary and cold and really frightening. And it was better to me to be in a scary, nasty, abusive relationship and have no void than to be in the void and not having her. So that's the way it was.
I have something to add to that, because I think you loved her too. I think
so
that's the thing. It sounds like such a normal thing. Well, why did you stay? It's like, you care about this person, and even though it had gotten toxic, like you said, the good parts were so good, and they fulfilled something that you were looking for, and it's hard. It's just hard to see how much the toxicity takes over when you are, when you care about somebody, because then it's not just about, saving yourself and being happy for yourself. You care about that other person too, and you don't want to make them unhappy, So it's so, I hope anybody watching this, I can't I can identify some, you know, of what that feels like, not necessarily abuse, but like a neglect. And it's just easy to it's just easy to stay and put up with it because you love them.
I think, Miss Lucille, that neglect is a kind of abuse.
Mm-hmm.
I think I agree.
Are you speaking from experience, sweetie?
I'm trying not to like break down. Yeah, I mean, I
breaking down is good for us. I would like to break down too.
I didn't realize how bad it was. And I wasn't even the person who left, but I think God was so merciful in allowing me to be free from it and you know, and build a life that does make me happy. And you know, I have a beautiful daughter, and gosh, I'm really sorry, but no, it's difficult when you're in it to see. And if you do have family and friends around you that love you, they see everything that's going on, but they're not going to bash your significant other, because that's toxic too, you know? So I didn't even realize how strongly my family and friends felt about it until afterward. So yeah, it's difficult to break away. I'm glad you did, and that you found, you know, I think that's the other thing for people to realize. You can't have good unless you leave what's bad, you know. And
Ms. Lucille, let's take it step by step, because I want to use your example, if possible, for the good of our viewers. Okay, there are people that we have some comments here on Periscope that most people in an abuse back to their abusive relationship. Would you say? I just think that there are viewers right now that are either in a long distance relationship, or in a relationship with someone who is a workaholic, or in a relationship with someone who, you know, there are many stories, but that feel like, you know, they're not important to the extent that they would have liked to feel. And there is a place of, like you're saying, feeling loved and loving the other person. And once you're in it, it's so hard to see that there are opportunities and other options outside. And especially with your family and friends, wanting your best and knowing that if they would turn against the person, you might turn against them. Or, you know, so it's a difficult situation.
I think one of the things, and I've been out of that relationship a long time, and I was very young during that. And it wasn't just a relationship. It was honestly, it was a marriage, and I'm for marriage, you know, and I think you should fight for it. But I think that a lot of times people, try to comfort somebody in a bad situation by saying, oh, well, you just, you know, like, there's something better, you know, somebody else will come along. And I can say for myself, that hasn't happened for me. And I'm not saying that it never will, but that is not what drives me in life now. And I think that, you know, as I've grown and matured, and I'm a mom, and I have a lot of other things in my life to bring me validation and happiness, and it doesn't necessarily have to come from a romantic relationship. And what breaks my heart is when I see people who that's the only way they know to feel complete is to have any kind of relationship, even a toxic one, just so that they can be needed and, you know, loved, even if it's twisted. And
are you saying, because I want to make sure that I understand clearly, are you saying that sometimes it's better to be alone,
Yes.
whole
Yes.
on than being in a toxic relationship?
I 100% think that, because I'm blessed to have a support system and a really great family. It's hard being a single mom, you know. It's tough. I only have one child. I so admire women that do the mom thing with, you know, 3 and 4 and 5 kids. But yes, I absolutely think it's better to be on your own and really live the life that you want. You know, go where God leads you to go, not just, oh, well, you know, when you're always depending on somebody else to make decisions for your life, it's very crippling, you know.
I want to support what you're saying. We have lots and lots of comments here on Periscope. It's kind of crazy, Miss Lucille. You definitely hit a nerve. People are saying that it's better to be not in a relationship and lonely than being in a relationship and lonely.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, yes.
I totally back that one up too.
Yeah. It's terrible to be with someone and be lonely.
Darn.
That's really, really heavy.
That's a heavy, that's a good sentence. Good job, guys. Wow.
Jonathan, this is actually a good time for me to mention this book. Sometimes when we do feel like we have to be needed, you know, that we have that need to be needed, that's also called codependency. There's a book that I've had, oh my goodness, I bet I've had it close to 25 years, and I use it for so many relationships, and it doesn't always have to be a real intimate relationship. It's called The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beattie, and this book has so many great things about us taking care of ourselves and how to let go of that need to be a people pleaser or have to have a person in your life, because when you have to have somebody in your life, that's giving that other person a lot of responsibility and a lot of power. And we don't necessarily want to do that because it can turn unhealthy very quickly.
Yeah. Shari is saying that she has this book and people are saying it's a great book here. So that we are going to put the link for this book in the description. If you were June, if you couldn't find this book was never to be found again on the face of this earth, and you were to explain to a person in just a sentence what this book taught you personally in your life, what would that be?
That I do not need another person to make me happy. Mm-hmm. That I can take care of myself, and I'm not talking about necessarily physically, I'm talking about more emotionally, that I can make myself happy without having to have somebody else in my life. Yeah. At the age now that honestly, I love my alone time. But there was a time, a long time and a painful time, that I felt like I was inadequate if I did not have somebody around. And that is really a dangerous way of thinking, because then you're going to attract the wrong kind of person. You know, you're going to end up attracting a person that can overpower you, you know, that can control you, whether it's mentally or physically or, you know, spiritually. And so, yeah, that's more than one sentence.
No, that is perfect. That is perfect. We're going to take a short break, and after the break, we will try and take it into the practical realm. So what does it mean to have a life of your own? And how do we take the actual steps to having the power to see ourselves possibly being alone and happy? Also, after the break, we're going to be talking about the possibility of seeing relationships in a broader sense. This is not only about romantic relationships, but possibly about relationships with close friends, parents, siblings, children, that sometimes can get and become toxic, and sometimes for the healing of these relationships, you need to be able to have the courage to say goodbye for now. It is goodbye for now, because I cannot be healthy in this relationship. I cannot serve you or serve myself in this relationship. So after the break, stay tuned. Guys, we will reinitiate this broadcast in a few minutes. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of your comments. This has been so encouraging. I never seen such long sentences on Periscope in
I was watching that.
my 3 months of Periscope live. Especially spoke, Miss Lucille. There were like so many good comments. You should watch the replay. There's so many encouraging comments. I'm going to go and grab my charger for my computer before it dies. I'll be back in 2 minutes, if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, June and Lucille. When we come back,
Is the Periscope done? Because I'm on like a delay. I'm trying to watch on my phone and it's still going.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, it's still going.
Jonathan, Periscope is still on.
Yeah, he's gone.
Well, he may still be able to hear us.
Yeah.
We can count to 3 and I'll shout Jonathan.
Hey, everyone. Yeah. Everyone, you can hear us, right? Yeah, there it's going. Yeah, it's going.
Oh, Jonathan.
Hello.
Okay, anyone know how to whistle?
Yeah?
They're like,
I don't know how to whistle.
That's being
really
recorded.
funny.
I don't know if he'll like that. I'll probably call all the neighbor dogs.
Well, then I'm glad to know that this is still going. I was about to say something, but I'll wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
LOL. Y'all are so patient on Periscope.
Yeah, they're still there. That's awesome.
They're not leaving.
We're just yeah.
I didn't know other people really knew about this book because it was a long, long time ago when it was given to me. And whew, I love this book. I've used it so many times. Through divorce,
really cool.
through detachment, through all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I did not expect to break down like that. Oh my gosh, but
I haven't been talking because I know I will. So
break down. Yeah.
Hey, June, can you see Lucille clearly, or is she kind of pixelated?
She's kind of pixely, and actually when she started to cry, I was going to tell her, it's okay, we can only kind of see the fuzzy part of your face. We won't see the tears.
I think it's the lighting in here. Maybe I need to turn more lights on.
It does look a little pixely though.
Yes.
It's probably the light. I can try to fix that.
I wish I were pixelated right now because I've got poison oak on my face.
Oh no!
You see it?
You poor thing. Yeah.
Here and here.
But your hair is so cool looking; it takes away from the poison oak. It looks so good.
Thank you.
I've got a spot back here where when I was leaving the flea market today, one of my friends took some of my hair. She cut some off. She wanted my hair. And I said, why do you want my hair? She goes, because you're not going to like being bald. That way I can give you a rat tail.
Where are you going to have it done? At a salon?
No, for the fundraiser, there'll be people there to shave us.
Oh, okay.
Are there many people shaving, June?
I believe last I knew there was 10.
Oh, great! That's exciting. That's better than to do it yourself.
Yeah, I think.
Hey, Jonathan.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to tell him the scope is still going.
The scope is still going. Oh, John.
Yes, we were calling you. Everybody was LOLing.
Oh no! Don't LOL. Sorry, guys. We'll restart. Actually, LOL. It's good for you. We'll be back.
LOL is good for you. It's so funny.
Okay, now is Periscope still on?
No, Periscope is off.
It's gone.
Okay,
Gone.
so let me just say something quickly.
Please.
Because I think your progression is just so smooth. But I think we should briefly, maybe 2.5 minutes talk about why this codependency starts.
Okay,
Where does
we're now writing exactly where we're headed with the next part. So the beginning is where codependency starts.
Yeah, where? I know. I have a feeling I know.
Okay.
In fact, I'm trying to dissuade it from happening because I've got 2 young teenagers. And I think that's when it starts.
Don't go into the details. That is awesome. We'll begin with you, Lisa, where codependency starts. Where do you girls want to take it later on?
Well, Jonathan, I wanted to tell you I actually do have some steps written down and a link on how to get out of the relationship.
Okay, perfect. So I think that we'll go. I first want to go into broadening the topic into all kinds of relationships.
Okay.
Do you have any example of a toxic relationship, possibly abusive toxic relationship, not with a spouse, with a child, parent?
I can share about a parent.
Okay, perfect. So that's what we'll do. Well, I'll talk to you about broad, like wider relationships, and we'll talk about. We'll head to you.
Can I talk like this?
No.
Why are you going to talk?
Yeah, probably.
You girls, I will cry too here. If not,
Okay.
in the future, and this will empower you to cry. This is great. Crying is one of the best ways for us to feel liberated and for the viewers to be liberated. So it's awesome.
Thank you, Mindstream. And Jonathan, it's your party, so you can cry if you want to.
It's my party, I can cry. Let's dance it.
Yeah.
If I want to, you.
Am I still pixelated, or does it look better? I am still.
Yeah.
What is wrong?
Is your connection a little slow, maybe?
I don't think so.
Because it started off, you were really clear, and you've gotten pixely.
I would say to refresh your page, Mr.
Refresh. Okay, because I did come.
Promise me, and this is to the internet god, that she's coming back. Because sometimes they go and they go.
Abracadabra.
If not, Jenny, you're going to be coaxed in.
Whether you want to or not.
Okay, here comes the
I'm reeling her in.
Oh, beautiful quality.
Yes, now we can see you.
Okay,
Yeah.
I wonder what happened. That's a good tip, though.
Happens actually, June and I know that it happens.
Yeah, something happens. It gets garbly or something.
Or sound goes bad.
Garbly.
So we'll talk about where codependency starts. Then we'll head to. I actually want to hear a little bit more of your story, Ms. Lucille. Are you willing to share a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really anticipate breaking down. That's kind of like nobody wants to see somebody crying on the internet.
No,
But that's what impacts.
This is not true. You are living some misconception that someone told you at a young age. It's the wrong thing. Everyone wants to feel human.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants to feel validated. Everyone. And I was crying so many look at the comments. I was crying so many times when I was in this freaking relationship. I was crying so many times, and I was drying my tears. And when I would speak to my friends and to my family, I'm like, she's doing better. Her health is better. We hope that I was never, and this was stupidity of me. And, and if I would have been in that circumstance, seeing you, Miss Lucille, crying, I would have been like, man, I'm not the only one crying because of a relationship, And as stupid as it may sound, of all the things that you say here, this might be the most powerful thing, the actual act of crying. So it really liberates. So
check out on the comments what Mindstream is saying.
Yeah.
And No Shame 116.
Yeah, it's awesome, and it shows strength. It really does. The other week, and then we'll begin. Because I don't want to have the guys on Periscope wait. The other week, I was talking about the Israeli-Palestinian situation, and I began crying.
No, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
On that note, Jonathan, there is a lady that I talked to today that is from the Mormon Church, and she said she would love to join your talk when you and Sala, when we're having that one, if that's okay. I figured you'd probably like that.
I would like that for sure. The bottom line, Miss Lucille, is that when I cry, it is a blessing, and it's it's God expressing through me and enabling my emotions to be, you know. So I think it's a blessing.
I don't think about it that much anymore. Well, not in the way that I just shared, because it's been many years. But I just recently I found a little journal. It's like this big, and it's a journal.
So I'm going to stop you like a host. You're going to share this, and please explain to us what neglect means. I need to understand. Like, visualize it for me if possible. And only if it's like good for you. But I'm not going to push you into doing something that you do not believe. So just listen to you, listen to God, and whatever is right for you, do. Okay? I'm coaxing you into crying. This is not
okay.
All right. Let's put the song. Yeah.
Do you know when you get teary, Miss Lucille, you look more beautiful? I mean, I don't know what it does to your face, but it does. It makes you very pretty.
Your face, actually. Okay, girls. Let's.
Thank you, June. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you.
So sweet. I know. Gosh. Oh.
Lisa, you crack me up. That just really warms my heart. I'm waiting for you to stick it on your forehead now. I saw it on your shirt, like the little corsage. I love it.
Hello. Thank you for joining. So fun to have you here. Girls, it's double. So fun to have you. We are being joined here live with an amazing group of people speaking about abusive relationships. I'm going to flip. All right, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us and for coming back to this show about abusive relationships. Before the break, we spoke about the nature of abusive relationships and we shared some personal stories. I do appreciate you joining us back. We have lots of viewers here on Periscope. Thank you guys for coming back and for continuing here with us. In this part of the show, I would like for us to understand several things about the nature of abuse and the fact that abuse can come in different ways. I would love to hear more of your story, if possible, Miss Lucille. I'd like to hear a little bit of, from all of us, how does abuse start? How does it begin? And possibly, Lisa, you can contribute on that. And then I'd like to look into can it happen in non-romantic relationships and how to end codependency? So I thank you girls for coming back. It's a pleasure to see you again.
Thank you.
So Miss Lucille, during the break we were talking, I was sharing with you that I want to grasp better what does neglect mean? And you're saying that this relationship was many years ago, and that it's a little hard for you to talk about it right now. So, which kind of emotions does it evoke?
Yeah, it's hard to talk about because I didn't think about it as neglect at the time. But when you're free from it, you can look back and realize what it was. I can't really say how it starts because it was really fun and great in the beginning, and then and then it wasn't
the way they all begin. I would.
Yes. They all do. Obviously, I mean, you have to have something, to keep you around. But just turned. It wasn't really a partnership, and there was no. You were saying how in your situation you felt like you had to, get her opinion on everything. And I had the exact opposite situation. I felt like my opinion never mattered, and I stopped offering it after a while because, it's like easier than the rejection. And I felt suppressed. I felt when I was my true self, it was kind of shunned. It was kind of like put down, I can be like silly and, anyway, I think that's the thing that took the longest to break free from was the, just the years that I lived sort of trying to please. And that meant not really being myself, being true to myself. So, so that was the neglect. I mean, it's difficult to talk about because you just try to make the best of it when you're in it, and appreciate all the little things. And I was saying, I don't think about it that much because it's been a long time and I've moved on, and I have a beautiful life that I'm happy in and satisfied with. And God is so good and has blessed me so much. And I'm thankful. So thankful for so much in my life, even past things that have brought me to this point. So I don't think about it that much because I don't like going to that place, but sometimes you have to go to that place. And, I was going to tell you during the break, that I was cleaning out some things and I found this little journal. It's like teeny tiny. And I knew that I had kept it. I knew that I had saved it, but I hadn't read it since I wrote it. And it was basically it was the year leading up to that relationship ending. And I just read it and I just cried and cried because the stuff that I just couldn't see clearly at the time. And now knowing what I do know, it hit me. It just really hit me strongly that God rescued me from a situation that I didn't even realize how detrimental it was. Anyway, crying again.
Which kind of things did you read in the notebook now that you recognize or misfunctioning was more like signs of things not being okay?
Oh, just gosh, it'll sound so pathetic, but I was very young and I just wanted to be a good wife. I just wanted to please, and so, and it was basically like a prayer journal. My relationship with God grew so much during that time because I had to.
One second, sweetie. Jonathan, there's a troll that's causing some problems on Periscope that are getting some of the other viewers
upset,
concerned. Yeah. I'm sorry, Miss Lucille, but I thought it was starting to get out of hand, so I thought I better say something.
Yeah.
Why do people stay? It's Periscope. Just move on. Move on to another scope.
Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge you, Miss Lucille, for saying that. June, thank you for for keeping the Periscope sane. Actually, I saw some really beautiful comments from Mike Kami, who is saying that through the pain that you share, you liberate others. So yeah, I think we're going to, thank you, Mike Kami. We are going to block some free folks here and then we'll continue. So thank you, June, for saying that. Sometimes I think energetically, if I begin, oh, I think I just blocked Zina. Oh no!
No. Oh.
Sorry. Zina will unblock you. I'm a bold bitch. I like that. I'm a bold bitch. Oh, that's
Well, I'll be one after tomorrow.
Oh no.
Oh no, dude, no. So beautiful.
My dad always said bald is beautiful, so.
Oh.
Let's see who else. You guys, don't silent down, you Periscope trolls. Come on.
Yeah.
It is so funny. No, Lisa, you're stuck here unless you're stuck here. Hi, Ting Jingling. Thank you so much for your comments. Let's see. Do we have anyone else? I blocked 2 people, June. Anyone else that you recognize was?
I think that's it. I was getting instant messaging from the viewers. They were saying, help.
Who wrote it to you?
It was either Jamie or Judy. I'm not sure.
Okay. My Kami is saying, I'm trying to help regulate the trolls. This is beautiful.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I think it was actually a good time to break because I was starting to get a little overwhelmed. But
so we'll resume the podcast. Sorry, I keep losing my connection. No, it's not a problem. Kimi K. Oftentimes, watching the replay, you can, it doesn't lose the connection. So that's also an option if your connection is a little challenging. So let's carry on. Just 1 second. Perfect. So we've just now eliminated all the trolls, and this actually possibly helped us because we have more viewers right now on Periscope, and we have some people joining us on Blab. Hi, Marcus. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Michael. Mariah, great to see you. So fun. All right. So thank you, Sanan. Perfect. All right. So we are going to carry on, Miss Lucille. So I was really trying to figure out what were the things in the journal, the notebook that you found, and you were beginning to share your relationship with God that strengthened in those days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it was basically like kind of a prayer journal, but also thoughts but things I was praying about at the time and things that I was seeking God about, and I knew at the time that the relationship was difficult. So it was a source of a lot of prayer and seeking and things like that. And but yeah, just reading back on it and just how hard I was just trying so hard, and it kind of broke my heart because it was like me seeing myself from 10 years ago, and it just, I don't know, it just broke my heart for that girl,
What you put yourself through.
Yeah. And she really did her best, right? She really tried to make it work.
She really tried. And I'm not saying that, that I was perfect in the relationship, because I'm sure that if you talk to him, he would have a whole, bunch of things to say, but I know that in earnest, I did try. I tried so hard, and that is actually for my own situation. And I can't say this to everybody that's in a relationship that's not, that's not healthy, but I can look back on it and say that I did my best. I really did the best that I could at the time. And it wasn't really enough, And so I'm sure that I did struggle with feelings of, of feeling like, well, I wasn't good enough, so he went. But I don't feel that now. I feel stronger now. I feel more myself. I feel free. I feel like I can be the woman that God has called me to be, and I can be the mom that God has called me to be without feeling suppressed. And that is a really wonderful thing. I mean, that is my number one, being able to be a mom, to my daughter and being able to raise her in a way that honors God is my number one success in life. So I'm thankful, I'm thankful.
I'm so impressed with your journey to claim your right to love yourself and to be okay even after the breakup, even after the dissolval of the marriage. I think you had a choice, sweetie, and I think that you chose to to become stronger.
I chose to keep going. I think that if you're in a situation and you don't know how to break free, I would say you just put one foot in front of the other, and then you do the same thing the next day, and you just keep going and surround yourself with one or two people. You don't have to have a whole group of people that agree with your decision.
Yeah.
If you just have one or two people to help you put one foot in front of the other, then eventually you'll look back like I did on that girl from 10 years ago, and you'll say, wow, I can't believe how far just taking one step and putting one foot in front of the other brought me, so you're not going to change your situation overnight, but you can take one step away from it, and then you can take another step away and just keep going until you're in a healthy place where you can look back and realize I did it,
Do you lament these days about the relationship ending?
No, I don't lament. Because I know that without putting too much out there, I know that I did what I could to try to reconcile, and you can't, when the abuse is more emotional, you have to come to the point where you can't force, you don't have any control over the way other people feel. You can only control the way you feel. And so I know for me, I did everything I could to love and to be a person that I thought would be good enough. And I don't regret doing that, because I can say that I honestly, did everything that I could. And it wasn't, it wasn't even my choice to leave. I'll just put it that way. It was not my choice to leave.
You were liberated. I think that he liberated you.
It did. That's exactly it. It did. It was a blessing in disguise for sure, because it was the hardest thing that I had to go through at the time, especially with a small, impressionable daughter, trying to shield her from that, even just seeing mommy so sad, even that you're trying to shield her from. And so that was a difficult time for me, but
wow.
Before the comments are gone, you're getting a lot of love on the sidelines there.
Lots of heart, lots of encouragement, and
the dialogue box.
I think it's so inspiring, Miss Lucille, what you were sharing, and I really think it gives me personally power to see things that I might perceive as a disaster at the time, as a step towards better future.
Mm-hmm.
And I bless your heart. You're so strong. You're so inspiring.
Thank you. I had to become strong. I had to find strength from somewhere, and I'm glad to say that I could tap into it. I don't have it together by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm a mess, oh my gosh, but I'm so blessed to have a daughter that is healthy and happy and undamaged.
Gorgeous. We just
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Gorgeous.
She is. And so that's my triumph in all this, is that she helps me put one foot in front of the other. So I'm thankful for her. She's the best thing about my life. So
I do want to stress one thing before we move on, because I think this is, I do sense that there is more acknowledgement that needs to take place for what you have chosen to do. You could, at the same time, instead of at this fork road, instead of trying to become strong and to see the future of your child in mind and to decide to take it, by the day, just make sure, I'll get through this day. You had this choice and you chose this route. You could have also chose the route of becoming a victim, the route of possibly eventually, falling into all kinds of addictions, which are so available for us. And and possibly eventually, having your child taken from you and being put in a foster care. There were so many options, and you chose the empowering, powerful, and I think the most difficult route. I do think you had to be really courageous. So I applaud you for that. I really do. It's such an example for me as to how to take a freaking nasty situation of being stuck with a daughter, having your husband leave you, having the relationship dissolve, and turning it around, girl. You turn it around. Look at you. It's just inspiring for me. Just very inspiring.
Well, and I do want to say that I know. Oh gosh, I know the feeling of, not knowing how to move forward. And I will tell you that I had a lot of jobs doing a lot of stuff that I had a job like scanning documents in for a company that just was going paperless. And so that's what I did all day long. I just sat at a scanner and scanned stuff, but I have a very successful job now because I did whatever I had to do and I didn't care, what it was. I think, in our culture, there is sort of a mentality of like, well, I'm not going to do that. I have a college degree. I'm not going to do that. Well, I have a college degree and I did a lot of jobs that I had to. And there's a lot of people out there with very different circumstances. And I'm thankful that for my family, I pray for those out there, even who might be watching this, that feel that they that they feel trapped. I don't want you to feel trapped, because you can climb out. You can climb out. You can. It might be messy. You might get dirty on the way out. But you can climb out and you can move forward, and don't settle, don't settle. That's why I haven't really had significant relationships since, because my most important one in my life now is my daughter. And there's not been a man come along that has impressed me enough to take my attention away from her.
Do not settle. Do not compromise. Right.
Right.
Amen.
Exactly. So yeah. So that's where I am now. I feel blessed. I feel very blessed, and I feel I can't say I feel proud of myself, but I just feel thankful. I just feel thankful for where God has seen fit to bring me to a place where I can look back and learn from it and
really
move on.
Learn from it and move on.
And hopefully help other people. I didn't even
Still,
expect to share any of this.
I want to encourage you to refresh. At the same time, we've had some great comments here on Periscope saying that is very encouraging and inspiring. Mike Hami has written. We've had lots of fun comments. June, do you want to share with us some of the comments that we have here to read it out loud to us? some of the comments that we have.
Michael, that's the frugal web guy, he has said to take care of you. You can never change another person who is unwilling to change, which is very true. And is it Alat Marini? Stay strong in your faith. You've got this, and getting out is the best part.
Out is the best part.
And then there was a scripture, I haven't looked it up yet. It's Jeremiah 29:11.
Yeah.
I don't know if one of you want to reference that or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the one that it says, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, said the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an unexpected end.
An unexpected end. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, the version I know is to give you a hope and a future is the version I learned for that verse.
Again, Miss Lucille, hope and future?
The version I learned says, for I know the thoughts I have toward you, says the Lord. Thoughts, let me see if I can find it. I actually have my Bible right next to me.
Great.
Thoughts to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you a hope and a future.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. Wow, so inspiring, so inspiring. Thank you. I actually took some notes, Miss Lucille, so I thank you for that. I thank you for this inspiring story. You girls, how would you say, you know, where does codependency begin? Where does it start? How does it start?
That's a good question.
I think, okay, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Lisa. I've talked too much.
You didn't talk too much, but Lisa, yeah.
Well, as all three of you have been talking and I've been listening, and I'm thinking, where does this behavior begin where we look to another person for our reflection instead of looking at ourselves and you know, the gifts we've been given. So I was remembering, now this is back in the 70s, because, you know, when I was in elementary school, high school, 70s and 80s, I will tell you that my day, the happiness level of my day, depended on how much attention I got from a guy. And if I got a note passed to me, I was walking on air for that day. And then the next day, if I didn't get a note passed to me, I was forlorn and sad. And I depended on this attention to feel good about myself. And now looking back on that, I feel like how I wasted so many emotions on waiting to get attention from a classmate to determine my mood for the day, when that is so irrelevant. I don't even know who those people are now. I can't. If you said, what was the name of one person you waited for a note from him, I don't know. That's how irrelevant. I don't know who he was, and I don't know where he is now or whatever, but I think that's maybe when it starts. And so knowing that now, I have 2 young teenage daughters, and I want to spare them from that dependence on somebody else's comments or flattery to boost them up.
Yeah.
I want it to be in their heart to know, you are beautifully and wonderfully created, and there is nobody who loves you and desires you and wants to be your buddy more than the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Very insightful.
I want to support what you're saying. You're beautifully and wonderfully created.
That's from the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and it's so great to have it reiterated.
Okay.
Great.
So,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking that that's kind of an epidemic.
Yeah, I want to support what you're saying, Lisa, using what Mariah wrote here. And Mariah, bless your heart. I think a lot of us are conditioned, right, to need that external approval, either by family or friends or other forces around us. And it starts young. For me, it did. I applaud you, Mariah, because I think that that's exactly the same case for me. I remember, and I think it's a natural thing as a child, kind of doing something well, and then looking, at your parents, hoping to like get their approval and their encouragement. And it's really good and important, I think, in early ages, like in an early stage. But I think that later on as a parent, and I think this is what you're tapping onto, Lisa, I would wish to myself as a parent for children in their early teens to, tell them, when they ask me, is it good? I wish that I would have the strength rather than just like, to solve it in an instant by saying it's great. I wish to have the strength and the mindfulness to ask them in the moment, what do you think? Are you pleased with it? Mm-hmm. Are you, so to kind of strengthen their sense of being. This is something that, embarrassingly enough or not embarrassingly enough, this is something that only in recent years am I beginning to tap into. That it doesn't matter how many viewers I have or how many likes I have or how many, customers I have. Am I pleased with the work? So am I pleased with myself? Mm-hmm. So I think that this is something that is really important to teach. And I appreciate you wishing, I appreciate that point of view as a parent, Lisa, to really, take this, all right, so, in the future, this might happen to my daughters. Where does it start? Like if I trace it back, where does it start and what can I do about it? Do you have any other advice to Lisa and to us parents, future parents about that?
Were you asking me? You cut out a little bit.
Sorry, I'm asking June and Miss Lucille and possibly here, all of our contributors, other things that you can do in order to make sure that eventually your child does not get into an abusive relationship. And the reason that I'm asking that is because sometimes you see people from the healthiest families, wealthiest families, best families, like literally children of pastors and rabbis and imams and people that really were, and for some reason they find themselves in abusive relationships. So I think it's a challenge, and I'm just interested to know if we have any other suggestions as to how to go about it.
I think that for one thing, parents need to be aware of this. I mean, I think it takes a lot of insightfulness, like Lisa just shared. I don't think everybody thinks like that, and it would be nice to, somehow the parents get the awareness and then instill this in our children. That it's all about self-confidence and self-love, and not out seeking for approval. And that's a tough one because, I mean, we all have stories of, when we're children wanting attention from our friends and wanting to dress like our friends or have the same toys as our friends. I mean, that's just kind of ingrained in us. And I think that awareness will bring it to the surface that we can, process it and maybe, limit it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're not going to end up being perfect from the get-go because then we have nothing to achieve. Yeah. But I think being aware of these things that chip at us and make us not love ourselves as much as we should because we're fabulous. Yeah. I think that we really do need to bring that awareness forward.
Yeah. with that being said, yeah, go ahead, Miss Lucille.
I was just going to say, I want to know what y'all think of this because I haven't really thought about this concept, but I think there may be something to it. I didn't really date in high school. I had very healthy friendships with guys. And I'm thankful for that, but I had no romantic relationships until I got to college, which here that's like age 18, 19. And because my parents were, and I'm totally from that family that everybody thought was perfect. You know, I have a great family. But you know, with my own, so basically I think what that means is I didn't really know how to conduct myself in a romantic relationship. You know, I didn't have any experience with, you know, I just didn't have any experience with it. And with my own daughter, you know, if she if she has, you know, feelings or thoughts for a boy, I want her to, you know, tell me about him, and I don't want her to hide that. And you know, if she's had a little boyfriend in the past, and he, you know, and I want him over at my house all the time. You know, they're young now; they're not doing like kissy hugging. They're not even holding hands. But you know, I want to encourage her feeling, you know, empowered, and that's okay. You know, and that you can, like, I don't know, what do you, Lisa? Do your girls have, you know, do they have crushes, or do they have boyfriends, or how do you feel about, you know, them sort of pursuing that side of? I'm not all for like kissy huggy. I've already told her she doesn't get to do that until she's like 30, which is a joke, of course. But, you know, but I don't want her to feel stifled. I don't want her to feel like you're not allowed to have a boyfriend, you know, because I feel like that can make you feel self-conscious around guys, you know, and then maybe later on around men, you know. It may lead to them feeling like they have to work really hard to please, you know, the opposite sex. I don't know. I'm totally thinking out loud right now.
I think that your questions are perfect for another blab broadcast that lasts a few hours.
Okay.
But I don't know how to see through your lens, but my lens is for my children is that I want them to have standards of how to invest in other people, whether it's, you know, female friends or male friends. And I want them to know that if a male, you know, treats them with respect and honor, then that is a good, humble person. And where are they going to learn that? Then from the other men, you know, like grandpa or dad, you know, how does a man treat, or how does a male treat a female? And another thing I know is that if the men who are around my children, you know, grandpa, husband, if they're not paying attention to my girls are going to look elsewhere. And that's when, you know, promiscuity starts with young children. They're looking for that self gratification from other people. And there have been so many studies that show how important it is for the male to set the standard, the older generations of men to set the standard for the younger kids growing up. And same for, you know, a male figure over his son. You know, that male figure over his son needs to be the guide of, you know, how do I treat your mother? How do I treat, you know, your sister? And it's a pattern. So my children, I'm praying, you know, I know that first of all, I know that the devil has a plan every minute of every day to kill, steal, and destroy. So every minute the devil wants to come in and put an idea in my children's head to stray. And all I can do is provide a structure around them that is, you know, spiritually pure, so that that's all that they know, so that when they experience something that is not pure or respectable, they see the red flags and they come back.
I appreciate that, Lisa. And I first of all, beautiful words of wisdom. You've touched, Lisa, in 2 minutes upon something like 7 important subjects. And we have Michael saying, Lisa, you are spot on. And I think that, you know, you're speaking what we all feel. Shari, you wrote on Periscope that, you know, you need to serve as an example to your daughters. And she is saying to you, Miss Lucille, that you want to keep the communication with your daughters as open as possible by setting an example. So that's great, and I cherish what you said, Lisa. I think me and Michael, Christopher, and the other guys watching, that I think that we, you know, I appreciate you saying what you said about the male figure. With that being said, I want to ask you, girls, can abusive relationships, because, you know, you're talking about good relationships and having an example served, you know, by you know, a father, parent, you know, sometimes sibling. I want to ask about, can abusive relationships take place also in a non-romantic setting? Meaning, you know, because the title of this broadcast has to do with living abusive relationships, and can sometimes abusive relationships be non-romantic?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, June, why are you saying that?
Well, relationships can be anything from friendships with you know, with our peers, or a parent-child, or a teacher, as a topic that we had covered yesterday. There's a lot of unhealthy relationships, or a lot of relationships that can become unhealthy. Coworkers, your boss, you know.
Yeah. You, June, do you want to share any story about that? You jumped right in, and we have Roth saying, I agree with you, June. Mindstream, Michael. Yeah, I guess relationships can be toxic, you know, regardless of romance.
I'll talk about it, but I'm going to need a big truckload of Kleenexes. The one situation, Jonathan, could you hand that to me, please?
Oh my God!
Could you please?
Just drop it. Just drop it.
Here. Okay. Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you. One particular relationship has shaped my life, and before I really get started in it, this is about my mom, and I don't want to have anybody feel like I'm throwing her under the bus, because I love my mother's passed. I love my mom very much. I have never understood the choices that she made. I've tried to find out a little bit about her life as a child, but I've been limited on what I could find, so I could better understand, you know, kind of why she was the way she was. But my mom had a lot of wonderfulness that I've taken on and I remember, but she did have a way that...
Roth changed, Shari is saying, Roth, that we understand, and I think we're all holding the space right now. With nothing that you say is there disrespect to your mother. So
yeah, this is not throwing her under the bus or being disrespectful. This is my own journey. This is more about me and sorting things out, you know, finding out what I'm accountable for and what I don't have to be accountable for. From when I was little, I knew that I was treated differently. I don't want to make this really, really long, but my mom had a total of 8 children, and the first 5 she had adopted out. And then, and I knew about them growing up, you know, I knew about them. And then I'm number 7 out of the 8. And the first 5, after my mom was with my biological father, she was able to either get the 3 youngest or the 2 oldest back. And she chose the 2 oldest, and one of them, of the 2 oldest, didn't want to come back because she was already in a home that she was happy with. So my oldest sister, I was raised with, and then a sister older than me by almost 2 years, and then I had a younger brother. That was my family for a long time. And then when my number 2 sister was about 15, 16 years old, she came and lived with us, so I got to know her too. But I knew that my relationship with my mom from way at the beginning was different than her relationship with the other children, and I just
what was it? What was different? What did you sense?
She didn't pay attention to me, and I don't mean this as a pity thing. I mean, as a child, I had no idea what it was about. It was just feelings and hurt and pain. But as I've gotten older, I've learned so much. And for instance, I was a very needy and clingy kid for whatever reasons. And I would want to go hug my mom, and she would push me away and say, "No, you always go for my neck." I've never understood exactly what that meant, other when, you know, you go to hug, you grab around the neck or, you know, the upper body, and she didn't like it. And so those words rang in my ears every time I would go to hug her, you know. So I was, at the very beginning, I was, you know, standoffish a little bit. And over the years, you know, I lived my life, and I knew my self-esteem was bad. I had a lot of pain on the inside. I didn't understand why my mom was different. I didn't think my mom was like, it was bad, because it was normal for me. But I didn't understand why it was different than other families. Like, I could go to my next door neighbor's house, and mom would be cooking in the kitchen, and they'd be laughing, and the kids would be fighting over the toy in the cereal box, and mom would problem solve. And that stuff just seems so abnormal to me in our house. And there was times that, this is where it gets a little heavy, but my mom would lock us outside, and it took, for a long, long time, I didn't know why. And then as an adult, my mom shared that with me. My mom was an alcoholic, and she just said she didn't want us to see her drink all the time. And so whatever reasons, you know, we were locked outside, or we were locked in our rooms, or something like that. So there was a lot of neglect. And then I just had to process stuff. I went through a lot of things. And then in 1998, I took my eldest daughter with me to California, and I got reacquainted with my number 2 sister. And she had made a comment about how mom treated me different. And my eyes probably were this big, because she recognized something I felt my whole entire life. And then the first thing I said to her was, "Why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you say anything?" And she said, "I'm a kid. I was a kid. There was nothing I could say." But she couldn't pinpoint what it was either. You know, and when my mom would describe me to her friends or to other people, she would always say that I was the prettiest out of all the kids. And so it's such a conflict of stuff. You know, when she would describe me, she would describe me as being wonderful, but her actions to me were, she didn't want me in the room. She didn't want me to hug her. She didn't, you know, she just didn't like me. And so when I met my sister and she told me this, it threw me back, because then I was asking myself, why? Why? If this was really what was going on, why? you know, because I was a good kid. I mean, I did things after my parents got divorced. I went wild for a while. My sister and I both did, and you know, I did things I shouldn't have done. But as a kid, I was a really good kid. I was a sweetheart. I still am. And so my sister and I talked about that, and she said, you have to understand, because she's the one that didn't want to come back. Out of the first, or the two oldest ones, she's the one that didn't want to come back. She said, Mom is not a nurturing person. She just does not know how to be a mom, that motherly love. I'd never heard that before. By this time, I was a mom, and I mean, I'm just like oozing out mommy stuff. And I just had no idea that a female would not have the nurturing ability. And from that moment on, I started understanding my mother. I realized this has nothing to do with me. It was not me that was the issue. And I have goosebumps. And
too.
And because me knowing that it wasn't me, I was able to start to heal from that point on. And it's taken a long time. And Jonathan, you know, you've known about some topics that I've discussed about my own children, because where I didn't get the nurturing and I didn't know how, you know, I didn't know the right way to be a mother. I went the complete opposite, you know, when I had children, and I, you know, tried to be that perfect mom, which there is no such thing. And so I can't say that of course, I didn't like the way things were when I was little. I did not like feeling that I was not loved by my mom. My mom did love me. I have no doubt in my mind she loved me very much. But I think there was something that was not right. I don't know her story. I wish I did know her story, because then, you know, I could understand and maybe feel a little bit of the pain that she went through. I mean, because obviously something was not right.
So,
And
June,
go ahead.
I want to take your story and use it if possible for me. Can we do that?
Sure.
So, would you be willing to define? I know it might be a little bit kind of challenging, but you've had so much support here on Periscope. I urge you to watch the broadcast again and see that we have lots of wisdom shared, and you are very inspiring. Would you be willing to define this relationship as abusive? Even though I see that you are like, I don't want to say anything about my mother, but would you be willing?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It was.
Would you? So how did you? Because you did have to do something, and Shari has pointed that out on Periscope. You had to do something to break out of the mold and not to recreate it. You had to do something, and what
I can tell you what it is.
So tell me, and also I want to hear from you as how the steps to break. How did you go about it? Like, break it down for me.
The difference between me and, because I don't have a relationship with any members of my family, because I don't know what made my head tick as a child that is differently than what made my siblings' head tick, but we don't see eye to eye on things. They've been in trouble. They've gotten into situations that I could have been in, but I did take another path, and the path that I took was I found the Lord. We were not raised.
Freedom.
Part of all this, I was on my own since I was 16. And I had the experience of meeting a church family, and I strayed from that for a while, but when I first met these people, they took me in and told me things and made me feel in a way that I never felt before. They made me feel like, that I was important and I was worthy and God loved me. And I grabbed a hold of that. And even after I had started college and started partying and went my own way for a while, I knew I was loved by somebody much greater than myself. And no matter what my situation was ever, I was never alone.
Yeah.
And that separated me from the others. In fact, it's just been since November that I have figured that one out. They didn't have the Lord, and they still don't. You know, I think they believe, but they don't understand it. You know, they don't. I don't believe they pray. You know, and I found something that makes me feel loved. I found something that I can have faith in, and something that directs me in a positive manner. And it's made me a very loving and lovable person.
I'm so inspired. I'm so inspired by your story, and I think that God does miracles in our life. And, I want to encourage. I want to. For many years, I did not believe in God, and it used to rub me the wrong way whenever someone would speak of God. So if this does not speak to you, I just want to let you know that you are welcome here, and that regardless of whether it's God or not,
Right.
we do encourage you to go to a place where you feel loved, like June did. And like Miss Lucille did with finding one friend or two friends. It doesn't have to be a huge community, but some people to support you. I think that this broadcast has been, to me, like I foresaw in the beginning, the best.
Awesome.
Thus far, such an inspiring broadcast. We have had Arlington Tiger write to us on Periscope and sharing his story. And I really wish that we could have shared a vibrant cake. I really wish we could have gone to share all of these stories. What I do want to recommend you guys is make sure to subscribe here below, here on YouTube, and on Blab and on Periscope. We will go into these subjects in more details in the future. And I wrote several things that I want to do in the future. I want to have you, Miss Lucille, and whoever wants to join us as well, for a blab, a conversation, a broadcast about overcoming divorce and breakup and how to get out of that, just in and of itself. I want to talk, and I want to have you, Lisa, and Miss Lucille, and June, and myself. So it's going to be like about instilling confidence in your children. I think that something that's so important, and I think that we all have to learn from all of you. I want to talk to you about dating and children, like being a parent of children in their teen years, dating, like something that has to do with how to go about it.
It's illegal.
I know tips.
I would love to get some tips, and I think it's really, really.
It's illegal.
It's
illegal.
I would disagree, June. So this is why this is going to be a very fun broadcast. And I want to talk to you about parents' neglect and in and of itself. That will be, I think that will be a big one. And then I'd like to go into depth into that. So what did we have today? Let's try and sum it up. Today we spoke about abusive relationships and how to get out of them, how to find the courage. And we shared several stories. We did love June. I agree, Lisa. Even though if you look at the number of the hearts we received here, I think that Miss Lucille is tripling all of us.
Yes.
I cried so much. I cried.
Because you cried, and because you were such a great inspiration.
Yeah, you were transparent.
Transparent.
I know, and online too. What was I thinking?
And online, and I think that this broadcast and this replay is serving the people watching it right now, and I appreciate that so much. I think it was just so powerful. I had so many insights. I have 3 pages of insights. We won't go through them.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
I will tell you that in our summary, I need to tell you that the only reason that I would open up like this at all or join this blab is because you've you've built this community of trust, and like I've gotten to know June, and I'm starting to get to know Lisa and the other people that tune in, and your Periscopes are so positive, and even with all the trolls, and you still do it every day, and it's something that I look forward to, and I can't tune in I can't tune in every night. I love the meditations because they're a little bit earlier for my time zone. But I just want you to know that the only, and for people that aren't on the actual blab, but, doing the comments, the same thing. We feel like we can share and open up. And I did not expect to open up like this tonight, but I just want to give credit where it's due, because that's really what you've created. And I think that you have really a gift. Yeah, it's good. It's very good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I feel it, and I feel really empowered. And I wanna thank you for being this family for me. It feels
forever. That's so cute.
I need sticky notes for next time.
Yeah, I'm looking around for a marker or something.
So fun. And I see you guys, your support, Tiger, Roth, everyone on Periscope. You've been so supportive and so loving. Heshua and Carmel and RWJ, and you guys been so supportive. And I want to acknowledge you. I want to acknowledge you, Mr. Lucille, for being so transparent and open. I want to thank you, Lisa, for being so loving, open, and entertaining. And finally, I want to thank, pre-finally, I want to thank all of our viewers for being here and for supporting us. And finally, I want to thank June for encouraging me, and for being my co-host here, and for just inspiring me to, keep, take it up a level, up a notch each time. So it, you serve as a great inspiration for all of us, and we are all going to be joining you tomorrow for your career.
Don't tell me that. I'm trying to keep that out of my mind. I want everybody to, but I don't want to know about it at the time.
We are going to be with you for your courageous act of raising awareness for children cancer research, and we are going to go and visit blab.im. I want to thank everyone who has been here with us. You have been so great and so supportive and encouraging. Thank you, Mariah. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, CSG. I would like to have your input next time. Thank you, Zina. Sorry, I blocked you, Zina. I'll unblock you, sweetie. Thank you, Kimmy K.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. Look at that.
Sticky notes.
I thank you, guys. I feel so lucky and so honored, and I hope that this will serve as a great inspiration for everyone that watched this. You have the power to live abusive relationships and to claim your life. You do have the power, whether it's through God, whether it's through friends, whether it's through anything else. You can find the power to claim your life and to have the life that you deserve. Mm-hmm. Amen to that. Thank you so much for watching.
Amen.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you, girl.
Thanks, Lisa.
I don't know how to